So as you all know, because you're part of my audience, RFK Jr. is a total fucking crackpot. He's just a total nut job. He's a junk science believer. This is a guy who would read a blog post from some psychopath in the year 2005 and think that that guy has more answers on health than a peer-reviewed double-blind study. Right? He's just useless. I mean, he's a fucking total anti-vaxxer across the board. And so there was a question when he was picked for the head of Health and Human Services. There was a question, how much is he going to let his freak flag fly? How far is homie really going to try to go? Right? And some people thought, hey, he's going to be reined in by the institutions in the sense that he can't really act unilaterally, so a lot of his crazier ideas won't be put into place. And then there were others who looked at him and said, do you know about Donald Trump? Do you know how crazy he is? Do you know how none of the norms and the rules apply and they do whatever the fuck they want? Well, guess what? He's already acting on many of those crackpot beliefs. So remember that we have a measles outbreak happening in the U.S. right now, started in Texas. And RFK Jr. was promoting taking vitamin A as a treatment for that. So what ended up happening is parents were giving their kids who had measles vitamin A, and then they would end up going to the emergency room, not only with measles, but also vitamin A poisoning. That's great. Thank you, head of Health and Human Services. What do you do now? Take a look. RFK Jr.'s FDA severely restricts COVID vaccine use. The vaccine will only be available to those at high risk from COVID, excluding those who may need it to protect a relative or a friend. So here we go, y'all. This is just the beginning. The Food and Drug Administration has approved the Novavax COVID-19 vaccine with strict conditions. Coming after 4 years of clinical trials, the vaccine will only be available for older adults and people over the age of 12 who have at least one medical condition that means they're at high risk from COVID, according to the New York Times. Advisors at the CDC have been debating whether to recommend COVID vaccines for only the most vulnerable. The decision to restrict who can access the Novavax vaccine would appear to resolve the question, at least in part. The restrictions mean that healthy adults under the age of 65 who may want the vaccine for reasons other than their own health, to protect an immunocompromised relative or friend, for example, will not be able to get the Novavax vaccine. It also leaves those same people vulnerable if a more virulent strain of COVID comes along. Critics have expressed concerns that the restrictions reflect Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s vaccine skepticism, with one ousted FDA vaccine chief describing Kennedy's tenure thus far as, quote, very scary. The vaccine was previously only authorized for emergency use, whereas vaccines developed by Pfizer and BioNTech and Moderna were granted full approval by the FDA in 2022. Both of those companies are currently developing updated versions of their vaccines for the fall. The New York Times spoke to Dr. Camille Cotton, an infectious disease physician and former CDC advisor, who said that the decision to restrict access was, quote, incredibly disappointing. She continued, I don't know why they would make this restriction. I don't know of any indication to make this change. Cotton, who cares for the immunocompromised patients at Massachusetts General Hospital, added, this is a dark day in American medicine. So in other words, the actual experts are going, there was no scientific rationale for you to do this. There was no scientific basis for you to do this. You're just anti-vaccine. And you're just trying to get away with whatever the fuck you think you can get away with. And so what does he do? Arbitrary rule. Now, by the way, I was told all these anti-vaxxers, this is what I was told. All these anti-vaxxers, bro, they just want to have the choice whether or not to take the vaccine. They're not trying to impose on your choice, bro. They're not trying to impose on your choice. They just want the choice themselves. They just don't like vaccine mandates and stuff, bro. Really? Well, now it's become very clear. The new policy is, if you're young and healthy, you can't get this vaccine. You're not allowed to get this vaccine. What happened? I thought it was all about the choice, and we want people to make their own choice, and no, you want to take away the choice of many people to get the vaccines. Let me ask you a question. I'm in a situation where Crystal's parents are relatively up there in age, right? And potentially, if I get a bad strain of COVID, I can pass it on to them. That could be really bad, right? So if I was looking out for other people, if I'm around other people who might be older or immunocompromised or whatever, maybe I would want to take it. But now, according to RFK Jr., you can't. I can't. Because I'm young and I'm relatively healthy. So therefore, I'm just banned from taking it. So all the choice bullshit, remember this, all the choice bullshit, it was fake. It was made up. Really, he is ideologically just anti-vaccine. And by the way, if he felt like he could get away with it, yes, he would have banned it for everybody. If he felt like he can get away with it, he would have banned it for everybody. Why? Because he actually believes and actually says all the time that these things are harmful. These things actually cause more problems than they solve. Depending on his mood, he might go further and say they're poisoning you on purpose, right? This is a guy who couldn't give a direct answer if he would give his kids the fucking polio vaccine and the measles vaccine today. This is who this guy is. Total crank, doesn't believe in the science, doesn't believe in the evidence, doesn't follow that shit at all. He's drinking blue dye, which is used as fucking fish cleaner, because that's the new fad on the right, this thing that'll fix your mitochondria and make you more healthy. There's not a single junk science trend that he doesn't fucking fall for and he doesn't love. But meanwhile, actual science, he's doing everything he can to undermine it as much as humanly possible. So now, sorry, are you young and healthy? You can't get the vaccine. Tough cookies. Deal with it. So in other words, you don't have the choice. There is no choice. Jesus Christ, man. The thing that's so annoying about these people, they're always playing hide the ball, right? It depends what audience he's in front of. When he was trying to get approved by Congress, he was like, oh, I'm not anti-vaccine. What? Cut to the video of him, I think it was on Lex Friedman's show, saying there is no such thing as a safe and effective vaccine. They don't exist right now. Like, depending on which crowd he's in front of, he'll hide his power level, right? And then sometimes when he feels like he can get away with it, he'll say the thing he actually thinks. And it's like, that just exposes how much of a con man you are, right? If you can't just say what you believe and stand on business, like, stop being a bitch. Just say it. If you actually believe it, just say it. Yeah, no, I think vaccines will kill you and they're bad for you and I'm against them and I want to ban them. If he was being honest, he would fucking say that, but he's not. But he's not. Instead, he does everything he thinks he can get away with like this. So now, sorry, if you're young and healthy, it's not an option for you to get this vaccine, even if you want it. Even if you have a family member, a dear loved one who's immunocompromised and you want to get it to help, it doesn't matter. And also, by the way, these, of course, he doesn't know or care about a little thing called herd immunity because he's a fucking idiot. Yeah. Worst HHS secretary of all time. And when all's said and done, man, the amount of damage this fucking guy's going to do, bro, you can't even wrap your mind around it at this point. You can't even wrap... This was the guy... How many people did he get killed? What was it? 60-something or 80-something people got killed in American Samoa because of his anti-vaccine crusade. Now he's going to do his version of that for the entire country. Just wait for it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.